So while in class we're polishing and revising and improving your research papers, getting them ready to turn in, outside of class you're going to be reading the first third of The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. So let's talk a little bit about what the book is about, tell you a little bit about the author. So The Handmaid's Tale is your annual dystopian novel. This one takes place in the Republic of Gilead, which is the United States after a theocratic takeover. It's turned into a theocracy, which, as you probably know from social studies class, means the ruling government is also the religious institution. So as you'll notice in this still from the very popular TV show, they've turned the Washington Monument into a cross. So the United States has been taken over by fundamentalist Christians. So in the novel, mankind had been struggling, birth rates are down, the environment is bad, and it looks like things are falling apart. So this theocratic body decides to take over the United States so they can right the ship. But of course, it's a dystopia. So dystopias are always utopias that have gone wrong. They're places that were designed to be perfect, but through various reasons, usually having to do with corruption and power, it doesn't work out and things go bad. And things go bad in Gilead. So this is a basic map of Gilead. So the Republic of Gilead is here in the northeast, or the eastern part of the country. They're still fighting over various parts of the country. The Mayday Front is the original non-theocratic United States. They're still fighting for control over here. The actual government apparently still exists in Alaska. And then there are fallout colonies where it is heavily implied that nuclear weapons were used. And so those are sort of territories where there's radiation. Now the book takes place in Boston. There's a little bit of irony to that setting in the book, because what is Boston known for among terrible baseball teams? It's known for having Harvard University, the oldest and most respected university in the country, MIT, great places of learning and of innovation. But in Gilead, they've taken it back to a place where women are not allowed to read. Women are being subjugated into very particular roles. So The Handmaid's Tale is primarily a feminist work. The structure of the book takes a little getting used to. It's non-linear. Linear means in a line. So if there's a linear story, it progresses from the past into the present in a normal order. It's chronological. So if something's non-linear, it's not chronological. It skips around in time. It flows between past and present. She does it on purpose, of course. She's not doing it for the purpose of being confusing. She's doing it to reflect Offred's mental state. Offred is the protagonist. So if you feel like the scene has shifted and you're not sure where you are, well, pay attention to the setting. That will tell you where you are, because in each part of her timeline, she's in a different place. Likewise, pay attention to the secondary characters in the scene. They'll probably give you a clue as to when the scene is taking place, because she hangs out with this group of people in the past, she hangs out with this group of people later on, and then she hangs out with this other group of people. So if you pay attention to who's present in the scene, that should help too. For example, in pre-Gilead, most of the scenes have to do with her mother, Offred's mother, her best friend Moira, her partner Luke, and their daughter. After Gilead takes over, she is sent to the Red Center, where she is turned into a handmaiden, and there she hangs out with Aunt Lydia. Moira is also there, and there's a new character, Janine. Later, she gets sent to her placement. And there she deals with Serena Joy and the commander, and there's Rita and Nick all at her placement. And then we go to the present tense, which is a little while after she arrives, and we still have the same characters there. But things have shifted, the tone has shifted. So pay attention to those things, and it should give you an indication of where you are in this timeline. Margaret Atwood, the author. She is a Canadian writer. She was born in 1939 in Ontario, Canada. She is a poet. She writes novels. She writes essays. She's a literary critic. She's also a professor. She's won countless awards. The Man Booker Prize, Arthur C. Clarke Award, Franz Kafka Prize, the National Book Critics Lifetime Achievement Award, and many others. She's one of the most important literary voices of the past 100 years, and The Handmaid's Tale is her magnum opus, the work she'll probably be remembered for, although she's got some other classics. So here's some basics about the book. It was published in 1985, and it was probably set around 1985. So the setting is a near future for 1985, but after this theocratic totalitarian republic government of Gilead has taken over. So she wrote it to be like a warning about what could happen in the near future. But for us, when we read it, it's almost like you have to read it from the point of view of an alternate past, because it's, they don't have cell phones or things like that. So it's not the future for us, it's the past, but it's sort of this like alternate universe where this theocratic totalitarian takeover happened in the United States. Major themes in the book: gender roles. As I said, in Gilead, women have been subjugated. They've been assigned certain roles, those traditional roles. So they cook, they clean, they procreate. Those are their jobs. They're not allowed to have positions of power. They're not even allowed to read. So gender and the roles that are assigned to the different genders is an important part of the book. Power is an important part of the book. How people can achieve power, the different kinds of power there are in relationships. Obviously, religion and theocracy are parts of the book. So why a theocracy is something we should be concerned about. The nature of memory is an important part of the book. Offred is subjugated in Gilead, but she thinks back to a time when she was free. So those memories keep coming back to her. So the nature of memory is important. Identity. Offred's name is of Fred, just smushed together. Fred is the name of the commander. So when she is assigned to that household, her name becomes a name that makes it like she is a possession of the commander. She belongs to Fred, so she is of Fred. Offred, that is her name. So this idea of identity is very important. And sexuality. Her role as a handmaid is a vessel of procreation, as you'll see. Aunt Lydia is an important character. She is an aunt, and their job is to teach handmaids to be handmaids. The commander is obviously important once she gets to that household. Serena Joy is the commander's wife. She has an interesting backstory that we'll learn about. Nick is the driver at the commander's household. Luke is Offred's partner, her significant other, in the days before Gilead. They have a daughter together. Moira is her best friend from those days, and she sees Moira again at the Red Center. And then there are other characters that we'll meet as we go. There's a lot of symbolism in the book. The color red is symbolic. A handmaid is dressed in red, so the color is important. We'll talk about the symbolic nature of the color as we go. The eye is important. There's a group of people who work for Gilead they're known as the eyes because they're always watching. Makeup plays an important role in one scene, and flowers are important in another scene. So those are some basics of the book to get you started. Mindeman out.